I'm about to head out to Tokyo right now. My goal on this trip is to get a better sense of what it might be like to live there, and thus be more able to compare it to other places in the world that I might want to live. Because that's the goal, I've tried to tailor my itinerary a bit to include things that I might actually do somewhat regularly if I were living there. So it's going to be a mix of touristy things, nerdy things, language exchange meetups, and probably looking around a suburb area. Just to kind of get a more well-rounded view of what Tokyo might be like. This will also be my first trip that I try to turn into a vlog. Really kind of my first video project in general. I just started to feel pretty comfortable operating my camera, to be honest. But yeah, it should be an interesting few days, and I'm excited to get going. Also, I should let you know, I'm 31 years old, so if you're not down with that good, wholesome boomer culture, you could just get out. Wait, am I a boomer? Hang on, let me... Mr. Elephant. Hey, Mr. Elephant, am I a boomer? Oh, anyone over 25? Okay. It turns out I am a boomer. If you're here just to see some cool stuff in Tokyo, or you're thinking about moving there yourself, or you're just like me and you're not sure how to decide where to live in the big wide world, I implore you to join me. A whole group of children going to school just walked by. It is a school day. So yeah, let's go. I got my boomer suitcase all ready to go. I'm down here in southern Wakayama, which is south of Osaka, quite a bit south. I'm about 6.5 hours away from Tokyo if I were to take public transportation. But thankfully I live next to a tiny airport in Shirahama that can get me there in an hour. Plus another hour from the airport to my hotel by train. I made it to the airport. The cherry on top about this place is that I can apparently park here for my whole trip for free. Smallest airport I've been to in my life. There's really nobody here. So here's the gate. You'll notice it doesn't have a number on it because it's the only gate. This whole process has been so much easier than any other flight I've ever been on. From the parking to the customs to the boarding. It's crazy. After dropping off my stuff, I took a long walk around the neighborhood. For this trip, I stayed in a part of the city called Asakusa, probably best known for Sensoji Temple, and the ancient corridor of densely packed humans, which sports around 90 gift shops. Sensoji is probably the oldest temple grounds in Tokyo, having been completed in the year 645. The temple worships a goddess called Kanon, and can get insanely packed during festivals. Besides being conveniently located for places I'd be visiting, I chose Asakusa for its old world charm. In Japan, there's tons of old shrines and castles, but what really captures my imagination are the old-looking towns and shopping areas. Those are a bit more rare in Japan. Asakusa still has a lot of those old Tokyo or Edo vibes, and I really enjoyed wandering around its small pedestrian shopping streets both above and below ground. I really love that old grungy look. That's not to say there's nothing trendy in this area, though it is mostly concentrated around the riverfront. But there was this vegan store that I checked out because I'm lactose intolerant. They were all out of prepared food though. But I walked a few blocks and found a super cool little boxed lunch kiosk where I bought a huge bento for just like $3. And it was surprisingly good, especially considering I didn't have time to heat it. If you come to Asakusa, definitely check out the Culture Tourist Information Center. It's got one of the best views I've seen of Tokyo. Not that I've seen that many, but I don't know, it's really cool. It's got the the temple, the Sensoji temple right there, nestled into the city. It's got the Asahi, it's got the view of the Asahi headquarters, and it's just awesome to arrive here and within 10 minutes of getting off the train, I got this awesome view. Everybody gets attached to places in different ways and to different degrees. You can be attached to the place itself, how it looks and how it feels, friends, family, career, all those things. And I definitely have those kinds of attachments to California and the US and all, but for various reasons, they're not that strong. And relative to sort of my interest and desire to see other places and other cultures and kind of decide for myself where I want to live, those attachments are pretty weak. I had a lot of different reasons for coming to Japan, but I definitely had in mind seeing if I want to live here permanently. I think if I do end up living here permanently, it would probably be in or around Tokyo. I've always just had a good feeling about this place. Whenever I'm here, just something about the city kind of captures my imagination, or it just feels good. And I think we probably all have those places that just naturally feel good to us and kind of vibe with. After soaking in the old-timey vibes and taking lots of photos, it was time to take a ride down the old Sumida River, which was the lifeblood of old Tokyo ever since the start of the Edo period. A real historic experience. What the... A manga creator named Leiji Matsumoto designed this and one or two other spaceships you can see cruising up and down the river all day. Matsumoto was a director on the classic space battleship Yamato anime that started in 1974, but I'm pretty sure his biggest achievement was creating the space opera series Galaxy Express 999, which, much like he confused the request for a boat design and gave Tokyo this spaceship, in Galaxy Express, he confused spaceship with steam locomotive. But it did not derail his masterpiece. So I haven't watched this anime yet, though I plan to check it out. The show's only recently gotten a good English translation, but from what I can tell, it's about some Norwegian prince who chaperones a mentally challenged boy across the galaxy to a Chinese plastic surgery planet where he got his beautiful eye implants. Also that the ugly boy can get beautiful eyes too, but little do they know the locomotive is actually a space worm in disguise. When I first saw one of these things in the water on my first trip to Japan, I was blown away. I hadn't seen them in any travel videos or heard anything about them. I've got to give it up for a city that's got spaceships in the river. It's freaking awesome. The boat lets you out on this sort of futuristic island-like part of town called Odaiba. I stopped by this Gundam's scheduled transformy light up thing, and I'll never forget this little girl.
What's the story of Gundam?
Then I went and further indulged my fanboy obsession with lanterns and tiled roofs at Oedo Onsen. It was a nice and well-needed soak after all the walking. It had been a long day, but a really fun day. My last stop would be an international meetup at a cool bar way up in a shopping building in Ginza, which is like Gucci land. I thought I'd try my hand at interviewing a few people on camera, something I'd never done before. I met these two really cool nursing students, and we had a fun conversation, and they eventually agreed to do some interviewing. All three of us were pretty nervous, her especially at the beginning. I learned the hard way how easy it is to forget to switch on the mic. Thankfully, I realized at some point. It looks like the interview was going pretty well, but honestly, I can't remember what we were talking about. You guys are lucky because the sound wasn't in the whole time, so it was just a practice one. So now it's just me and the camera. Do you think Tokyo is a place that's sort of easy to meet people?
Like Meetup. And many opportunities to meet like many foreigners, not only Japanese.
Right. What do you really like about Tokyo?
Well, trains come every 3 minutes. Food, that's true. It's easy to get international food. It's really hard to get Mexican food in my hometown.
Wait, you can get Mexican food here?
There's Taco Bell.
What?
There's
Taco
Carl's
Bell.
Jr.
Carl's Jr. I didn't know that was Mexican.
I don't know. American.
I'm just kidding. Can you get like a real burrito though?
Yeah, but pricey.
And how about anything you really hate about Tokyo?
Busy. So busy. The trains are packed.
Like it's not killing you, right? The busyness, or is it killing
Well,
you?
but still, like say you make sandwiches for lunch, and then you bring it to work or school. But since the trains are so packed, the sandwiches feels like
I don't drinking.
it's crushed by the time you get there. I hate it.
The sandwich needs a nurse by the time you get there.
True. It happens to onigiri too, like
okay.
rice bowls.
Yeah, I guess those
It
are
be
even more
triangle
squishy.
shape, but by the time I get to school or work, it's like,
But overall, you're enjoying it.
because people are motivated to learn new stuff. So
yeah.
welcome a new culture.
And her words rang true, especially since I'd been asked by this guy named Kamijo at the meetup to do a really quick bit of acting. Can you remind me what I'm saying?
Kamijo saved my son's life.
Kamijo.
Kamijo is my name.
Kamijo.
He saved my child's life, and my youngest son is named after Kamijo, or something like that. Action.
Kamijo saved my child's life. I had had a great day, and I looked forward to the second day of the trip. Tokyo had really impressed me, and my expectations had been high already.